Hey, hello there. This is going to be an addition to the Curve Tangent Transfer tool that we created. You can find it on Blender Market. This is how it looks, and it was made to create brush strokes. So if you have a 3D model with a UV map and UV colors, you can put this tool on it and then everything turns into brush strokes. It puts a layer of brush strokes on top, to be precise. And with a curve that you can draw on your model, you can create the directions of the brush strokes. As you can see here, it follows the curve which goes around the shoulder and around the neck and around the eyes. So you have a lot of control what happens to all these brush strokes. You can make them wider and smaller, and that is how this works. But I was thinking that you can also do this with feathers. So that's why I made an addition. I'm going to upload it also onto the Curve Tangent Transfer tool, so you get the brushstrokes and the feather tool. And there's some additions here in the geometry nodes that makes it suitable for feathers and maybe hair cards, which I can show you later. This model that you see, I downloaded for free on Sketchfab. This little creature, very nicely made, and it was made by Kaya Schultz. And you can find it here if you want to use the same example. If we go into the model here, we can see that it has all these feathers. And what I did is I just plugged into the Curve Tangent Transfer node an instance of a grid. In this grid I subdivided. I can go into the viewer node to see what is happening. If we go here, this is the check, turn this off, this one. It's not just showing the card for some reason, but I'm just making a grid, then I'm subdividing it. I'm then capturing the UV, so I unwrap the UVs and then store it by UV brush. And then I transform it to rotate it and scale it a little bit. Here I can also change this, the scale, the overall scale of all the feathers. And then I'm flooring the geometry. So what happens there is that the leaf or the panel is getting set to the floor. Let me check quickly if I do viewer here. Not sure why it's not translating to the viewer node. And also just plug this in to see what happens. Here, this is the card. Back. Then we just do it this way so we can keep track of what's happening. So we have a grid, which is just a panel with a few vertices, and I'm subdividing it like this. Then UV unwrapping it. You can see that here, but it's like making the UVs. And then I'm transforming it. It's slightly skewed. You can set the amount of skew here, and then also flooring it. So I'm setting it to the see. This is how the flooring looks. So it just puts it on the ground, and the ground is over here. So if I turn this off, you can see, so it's always above the surface. And if I rotate this, like, the feather never goes into the model. That's why I'm using the floor. Then here I'm storing the edges. So I'm making also a hair card material, and it takes the edges, and I'm translating it here. So it fades out the edges. In the middle you see then the hairs. Here I'm setting the material, and then I'm plugging it into the Curve Tangent tool. And what happens here is that I'm capturing some things to send to the material. Here I'm capturing the colors of the model. So these are the colors of the creature. And when we go to color mode here, you can see the creature colors. This is the map that's on it, the UVs. And here I'm choosing that one. It's over here. When I turn it on, you see the feathers again. And I'm storing these colors and sending them to the brush material, as you can see here, brush. The colors are coming in. I'm having two principled BSDFs, one for Eevee and one for cycles, because I've optimized them a little bit to look better. And this is the alpha of a feather. I take here, I have several feathers that I created with an AI program, and you can see here how they look. This one, this one. If you download the tool, you get also all these images. You can choose between these feathers if you want to use the ones that I made. But of course, it's very easy to create new feathers with an AI tool, for example. So here you can see the different feathers, and I'm plugging in into the alpha here. Then if we go into parameters, scale instance, I'm scaling them. You can set brush size max and minus. So you can make them big. Oh no, these are the X and Y, so you can make them very long. No, here they get really wide, but here they get really long. So you get really long feathers. Then here I'm plugging them into brush size, so you can say I want really big ones and really small ones. So there's a big difference in the size overall on the creature. I go back to the ones that I have, you see this. So to look also at how it works with the curve, now it's set to hairs, as you can see. Here is the curve that determines the direction of all the hairs. We can just go into the curve and then with this draw tool and then draw on surface, you can draw and all the hairs will follow that direction. As you can see that it approximates from side to side, and then you see that every direction can be determined as long as you put a curve there. Here I want it to go around the eyes, and here as well I can do 2, and then it will follow all these lines nicely. So if I go here, oh, you see that I'm drawing now on the hairs. So it might be better to just turn off the hairs. And then if we go into the curve, we delete this curve. With L, I'm selecting these curves. So it will follow also this jagged curve that I just made. You want them to be more this smooth, and then you get better results. So if I do this and then turn back on the hairs, then you can see it has a nose. So this is the way to do it. If you want to know how to make this node, I have a tutorial on it. You can just check this out. I'm not gonna go into it because I did it already in another tutorial, but here is the GeoNode setup. You can get it also at Blender Market, just like this one as well. And then here I am capturing the brush instance. So I'm giving all feathers a different color, and by that different color you can change a lot of things. We go in here. I'm not using the index over here, but I also have a hair card material, and there I'm using the edges, and I think I also use the index to offset my wave texture. So every one has a different variation in how the hairs look. So if I plug this one into the Eevee cycles, you see that it are hairs now instead of the feathers. So you can also use the hair cards material. And if I plug in back in the feathers, we can go back into the geometry nodes. So here I'm making a different color for every feather or hairplane and offset them a little bit. You can give variations that way. And here I am scaling them based on the color. So the color of the creature is here, and I'm taking this color because I want only feathers on this color. What I can also do is color picker, take this color, and I need to be a little bit more accurate. You can see it puts only feathers on the other color that I picked. So that's an easy way to create like a partial feathered creature. Or maybe you can buy a map that you import. You can also set the scale. So maybe when you go to the bottom, the scale gets smaller, and in the top they're a lot longer. So you have a lot of control in this way if you put more images here. I'm planning also to put that in the tool itself. Now you have some parameters here that you can change, like the density or the density factor. So you can more or less feathers or hairs. I explained this in the curved tangent tutorial and how to build it, but for now this is how you can also use it with feathers. This is an addition to the tool and you can get it on Blender Market. And I will keep you up to date on any other tools that are updated. I hope this is useful and I see you in the next one. Okay, bye!